Hello and welcome to the Speakers and Leaders Hour, coming to you from downtown Fort Wayne, the Public Library and the Public Access TV channel. And we are delighted to be here. We're shaking things up just a little bit by having me do the introductions. If we could show our panel over here. To my far right, to your left, is our Division Governor of Division B, Patricia Knaebe. And next to her is Lisa Grotemat. Was that moderately close?
That's very close, thank you.
And closest to me is Judi Pierson. On the other side, next to where now we've got the ladies. Enough with the rows, on to Dave, we have Dave Wilkins, the man who, in fact, heads up the program. We have a number of interesting things to share with you this evening. And we are really delighted to be here and appreciate all of you that watch us. Appreciate it very much. The first thing I'm going to report on is spring conference. Now, if you're not a Toastmaster, this may not mean much to you, but if you're a Toastmaster, it's really very important. And we hope that if you're watching this, you're at least considering the possibility of becoming a Toastmaster. Twice a year in the spring and fall, and it was just this past weekend, if memory serves, my age it frequently does not, we had the spring conference. There are several reasons why one should go to a spring conference. This particular one was in Bloomington. We changed the location nearly every time, every few years at the very least. And the spring conference has several things going for it. One is training sessions. All conferences any time of year have training sessions, and they are always excellent. Among the ones that we had this year was one by our own Dave Wilkins on parliamentary procedure. And we also had some on club building, membership retention. One year we had one on speaking at the higher levels of the speech contest. Always very good information, always highly enjoyable. We also have a lot of business that we conduct at these meetings. Some years it's been a little contentious. This time it was very peaceable. But we have officers to elect. We did that. We have division governors and the top 3 in the district that we elect. We only had one contest this time. Sometimes we have many contests. A very interesting thing came up when we got to the business portion. Somebody remembered past business very differently than others did. That's where your secretary comes in. I'm sure by now that has been straightened out through the use of the secretary. She looked back through her minutes and found out exactly what the business was that had transpired, so nobody need to be in any doubt. Secretaries are one of those people that are underappreciated, generally keep a pretty low limelight, but nonetheless are absolutely essential and very valuable. Also, in addition to the business and the conference, you have the speech contests, and they were really good this time. I mean, we always think of them as, I at least always think of them as being better every year, every time we meet, but I really think that almost everybody would agree with this. Division B covered itself in glory. Janine Harold won the district contest. I should explain for those that don't understand. We have a series of contests starting with club, working through area, division, and then finally, for most of the contests, we have a district contest. In the case of the international tall tales, Janine Harold, who won at the district, who's from Division B, will go on to Malaysia to compete on the international level. Generally, if you win at that level, you quit your day job and become a full-time speaker. Well, she still has a ways to go to do that, but that is definitely a possibility for her. Also, we had a person from Division B come in second. Renee Stockler, thank you, came in second on the Tall Tales contest. So Division B, which doesn't always do that good, really came through big time on these speech contests, and they were very excellent. You kind of play along as you're watching the speech contest, you have your own scorecard. I came in very, very close to what the judges decided on, not exact, but very close. But all around me, you'd hear people say, "Boy, I'm glad I'm not a judge. How would you judge? How would you choose?" And it was very difficult. It would not have amazed me if any of the seven, there were 7 contestants at this level, if any of them had won or come in second or third. I mean, they were that good. You just, could hardly tell. So you have these wonderful speech contests. You have an educational opportunity that is just par excellent. It's really great. This time we got to hear one of the big shots from TI speak. I think he was a second vice president. He spoke on one of my very favorite topics. I've spoken on it myself. Not quite as eloquently as he did, but getting the most for your money from Toastmasters. We have found out that very often people join, they go for a while, they often don't even complete their CC manual, let alone their CL manual. They're just not getting all that they could get from Toastmasters. If you went to the store and bought $100 worth of groceries and said, just leave $50 worth here, I'm just taking, everybody think you're crazy. Nobody goes in, pays for the top of the line car, says keep the difference, I'm taking the subcompact. That's absurd. But with Toastmasters, they do that all the time. They do not get all they can out of it. Perhaps because the cost is so low, literally $6 a month. We usually pay every 6 months, which is $36. Some clubs have a small additional charge, some don't. But I suspect it's so low that people just don't respect it, don't consider it when they're thinking. They could go to conferences, many of them don't. I went years and years as Toastmaster, never went. Went one time, gone every time since then. Mm-hmm. There's just so much to learn, so much to do. You have the chance to reacquaint yourself with people who moved to another area of the district. We had a lot of that going on this time. There's a lot of networking. You get to talk to people that you from all areas, find out what works for them, what doesn't, what's up with their lives. It's really a very, very excellent time. The one coming up 6 months from now will be in October. It will be on beautiful Lake Wawasee. I've been to Lake Wawasee. It would be hard to pick a more beautiful spot. So I'd suggest you start making plans, set aside the time. It'll be just about mid-October. And if at all possible, plan on going to that. It will be very worthwhile. Even more wonderful than that, perhaps, hard to tell. Next year it will be here in Fort Wayne. And none other than our own Patricia Knaebe will be heading up the effort on a local level to see that all goes well. The missing tonight, Marlene Purdy, has in the past often been in charge of this and has come through in a most excellent fashion, and I'm sure Patricia will do at least as well, perhaps set new heights. Maybe the hotel will pay us for the privilege of being there, I'm not sure. We will have to wait and see what happens, but I'm sure it will be good. Patricia, what of importance did I leave out of that?
I think you covered everything beautifully, Tom. Although you didn't talk about the ride there and the ride back.
Well, I thought perhaps the less said about that, the better. But no, I mean, that's part of it. Lots of times I go by myself, but this time I was privileged to go with Patricia, our outgoing division governor. And let me point out, this will be the last division governor that B ever has. They've changed the names. TI's on the move. In the future, Crystal Heffley will be the division director, if I remember correctly. So what a privilege, the last division governor of B. So I rode down with these two fine ladies, and the trip itself was a joy for the most part. We learned many things about each other, including probably that's long enough in a car together. No, it was a great time, and that was a part of it, getting to know people better, getting to find out things. So Dave, for your part, what do you think I left out? By the way, Dave was our parliamentarian. He put on an excellent workshop, and he also kept the meeting under very tight control this time.
Well, it was a well-done workshop, and we have to commend our district governor and the leaders for having such a wonderful conference there in Lafayette, Indiana. It hasn't been in Lafayette for, I don't know, maybe well, 4 or 5 years, but whenever it's there, they do seem to do a really good job. We saw some past international directors. At dinner on Saturday night, my wife and I were privileged to sit with a past international Toastmaster president, Tommy Richardson, and his wife, and also the man that served as district governor when I was area governor back in 1986, 87, which has been a decade or two ago, so it's been a little while. The business meeting went quite well. We had a wonderful accommodations and very good food. And I would say that you covered it quite well, so thank you, Tom.
One thing I particularly liked about that particular hotel was everything was very tight together.
Mm-hmm.
The more sharp-eyed among you may have noticed that I put on a few pounds over the years, and I appreciated not having to walk from one distant point to another distant point. It could not have been much tighter together. I remember one previous conference in a city that shall remain unnamed, we had 2 separate, unconnected second floors on which they had things, and neither of these had a stairway to them. So that was just about too much. And plus, just in case you found yourself where you wanted to be after huffing and puffing, they frequently moved things. There was none of that this time. It was very good. You also have the opportunity, if you want to stock up on supplies such as manuals and so forth. They have a store where they do that. I found out something I would have never guessed or suspected. I think half the women there had injured their wrist. I mean, it was epidemic all over the place. It was unbelievable. But that had nothing to do with the conference itself, just a coincidence of life. Have either of you 2 young ladies ever been to a conference?
I have not.
Well, I hope that I have persuaded you to give it serious consideration, because I think you will find it very well worth your time. You would not have to be a member to go, and I might point out that 6 months from now will probably be the last time that you can get in for the low price. Now, there's food, there's accommodations if you want, so forth, but to actually register, it will be $20 a person or $50 a club. Things have gotten more expensive. It's been that as long as I can remember. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure it's ever been anything different in the history of Toastmasters, but all the many years I've been, so things have gotten more and more expensive. I suspect that you all have noticed this. This year, for example, there was one subgroup that had always been allowed to have a room for free. If they had chosen to do it, it would have cost them $225. They passed on that opportunity, but that's just the way things are going. So probably after the one 6 months from now, it will probably be more expensive. Yes, Mr. Wilkins.
Well, here in Division B, a lot of the clubs will choose to pay the mass membership fee for the conference, the registration. So you only have to take care of your meals and your sleeping accommodations. So I know my club, my Anthony Wayne, of course we both belong there. They paid the $50, and there was at least 5 of us that went. So if you amortize it across the group, it'd have been like about $10 a person.
Right.
So I know, did Red Cross pay for your?
No, Red Cross did not pay for my registration. I paid for my own.
Do you know what speakeasies did? Wall Street speakeasies?
Adrian went, and I believe she paid her own,
She had
but
to
I'm
pay
not
her own.
sure.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure. I don't remember voting on it as a.
Okay. Yeah, well, it would have been a $50 outlay, so yeah, you probably would have had to vote on it at some point. But anyway, a lot of the clubs do pay their own membership registration here in Division B.
Right. Yeah. Up through this time, up through this September. All right, one more time. Up through the next conference, which will be in October, it's $50 for a club. So if you have 3 or more people going, that's the way to go, $50 or $20 a piece. As I say, it will probably be more. Oh, one important thing I left out. I really can't talk about it too much, but for those of us, those lucky people who were part of a presidential distinguished, I believe it was, one of them. We have a program whereby the clubs are rated. You do different things. You get a check mark. You do really good. You're presidential distinguished. Those of us who were in clubs who had already achieved the distinguished status had a special room. Obviously, it was too glorious and wonderful to talk about on television. But for those that didn't make it, I just feel sorry for them. But was there any other comments about conference? Any other comments about conference anybody would like to say?
No.
Well, I really, really hope that you all will give serious consideration to going. I hope any of you who are not Toastmasters will give that serious consideration so that you too might go to conference and enjoy it immensely. Now, moving on. You thought we wouldn't, didn't you? Moving on, help me welcome Patricia Knaebe, our area governor, and driver to conference, and she will report on the division updates. And we do have some interesting updates. Help me welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests at home. We have a few division updates that I would like to share with you. And this time of year, when there is a changing of the guards, when we elect a new top 3 into our district, and we elect new division governors and appoint new area governors, training has to take place for all of these people to get the information that they need to do the new jobs that they have and do those new jobs well. We are going to hold training in our division twice in June. We're going to have training. The first time is going to be on Wednesday, June 18th. It's going to be held here at the Downtown Public Library. We are going to hold it from 6:15 until about 8:30. We're going to have a wonderful educational session from Adrienne Maurer. She's going to talk about how to conduct a productive meeting. And incidentally, this is not only to assist the attendees in learning how to conduct a productive meeting, but it's also going to give Adrienne one more distinguished award to help her and to help her club with achieving the distinguished club status. And Wall Street Speakeasy is moving beautifully in that direction. The second officers training is going to be held on Saturday, June 28th. We're going to start at 9:15 in the morning and go to until about 11:30 in the morning. And again, what's in it for you as a Toastmaster as far as officers training? It gives you a chance to network with other officers. It gives you a chance to learn information and share information with other officers. It gives you an opportunity to take this information back to your club and share it with your club members. One thing that we want to do, not only as an area, a division, or a district, is we want to make our clubs stronger. And to make our clubs stronger, the members need to be stronger. We all need to be working on education goals. We all need to be working toward those advanced goals. And we need to be talking about our clubs. We need to bring more members into our clubs so that we can all be distinguished clubs. I have found that in my history as Division B governor, that those clubs that have the most fun, those clubs that grow in a healthy way, are the clubs that continually build their membership, continually train their officers, urge their members to go to contests, to participate in conferences, and to become leaders. These are the clubs that are vital in our area, and they continue to grow and retain their vitality. Besides the officers training that we're going to have in June, we also have an ongoing membership team. Our membership team in Division B, although we are small in numbers, we are mighty. We meet the last Wednesday of every month, except if a month has 5 Wednesdays in it, and then we meet the 4th Wednesday of the month. We meet at the Great Wall Buffet in Pine Valley Shopping Mall, which is at the corner of DuPont and Coldwater Roads. So we will be meeting there the last Wednesday of May. I don't have the date on the top of my head, but we meet at 6 o'clock. We socialize for about a half hour. We have some great food, and then we get down to business at 6:30. We meet from 6:30 until 8. All members of any clubs in Division B are welcome to be part of this dynamic group that we have. You can come, enjoy the food, enjoy the camaraderie, and work on ideas with other club members from different clubs and different areas to assist your club in growing. The Division B membership team is a membership team that we are particularly proud of because I've really got to brag on the membership team. We are the only division that has a membership team that hosted a speechcraft in this past year. For those of you who don't know what a speechcraft is, it is typically a 6 to 8 week session of introducing new people who don't know anything about Toastmasters, to Toastmasters. And we do it through a variety of programs, and we do it through allowing these new Toastmasters to dip their toes, so to speak, into giving speeches, doing evaluations, participating in table topics. And the goal of Speechcraft is to get new members to come into clubs. And as a matter of fact, the Speechcraft that we had has brought new members and guests to some clubs within Division B. Having said that, I want to say this. We have some very motivated members in our membership team. And as a matter of fact, we have already scheduled our next Speechcraft event, which is going to start in September. It's going to be another 6-week session. It's going to go through September and into October. And I'm saying this because we are looking for volunteers to help us coordinate the event. You can imagine it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of tap dancing to get all of the details in place in order to have a successful Speechcraft event. And we had one last spring. We're going to have another one this coming fall. And we're asking all Toastmasters out there to help us with that. If you are not a Toastmaster and you are interested in becoming a Speechcraft participant or a Toastmaster member, come join us for Speechcraft. The details will be in the Adult Learning Program brochure that the Fort Wayne Community Schools puts out on a semi-annual basis. Beyond that, are there any other newsworthy events that we need to talk about for Division B? Yes.
I
Dave.
do have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the Speechcraft that will happen in September.
Yes.
Do you know what day of the week it will take place on?
It will take place on Wednesday evening. We will start, like every good Toastmasters club, we will start at 6:30 in the evening and end at 8 o'clock in the evening. We will be holding that at Anthus Career Center.
Okay. Is that going to be promoted in like a newspaper or a handout or a mailing or a continuing education? Or
Yes,
something?
it would be promoted in the continuing education program that the Fort Wayne Community Schools puts out.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and you can find those here at the public library, and they will be mailed to your home as well. I'm going to return control to Tom Haller.
We very much appreciate that update. And you people out there, by and large, probably don't realize what a dynamo Patricia is. When we first started going to Indianapolis for deck meetings and other training sessions, they asked what everybody was going to do. Everybody was full of suggestions, maybe just full of them, might be a better word. But Patricia came through. There was no nonsense. She just did it. She did a Speechcraft. Other people, whatever they announced, you never really heard anything after that. I don't know if they accomplished anything. I kind of had this terrible feeling they might not have. But when you got Patricia around encouraging you, it is very, very likely that it is going to happen, and it will happen very smoothly and run very well. I wonder if there's any chance we could run her for president. We haven't had a woman president yet. I think this is where we probably ought to start. Now, I think we only have a couple minutes left, which is not really time enough to do anything else. Can we go into the mid-time things, or is that not an option? I'm sure you don't see me sing and dance, but want to avoid that at all costs.
Thank you very much. And now for our next speaker, Stanley Lichner.
Speaking in public doesn't have to be a death sentence. At Toastmasters, we can help you overcome your fears.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This guy, he's a farmer, and he says, hey, hello, sorry. But seriously, folks,
Speaking in public is no joke.
farmer says, doctor says, chicken says,
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
the chicken.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
What future do you envision for yourself? What dreams do you have? If you want your dreams to come true, you must have confidence in yourself and your abilities. A Toastmasters Club can help you build that confidence. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters shows you how to express yourself clearly and effectively. Make your dreams a reality. Join a Toastmasters Club.
Welcome back. We are delighted to have you back with us, and we are delighted to be here. I would like to encourage you to call in. If you have any questions or comments, 422-3902. 422-3902. We welcome your calls and comments. Without further ado, we're going to have some table topics to explain what table topics are and to give them to us. And let me tell you, if you're not familiar with table topics, they can be very interesting. It can be anywhere from what is your favorite color to the subtle difference between dragoons and cavalry. Help me welcome Lisa.
Well, fellow Toastmasters and guests on Terror TV. Tonight, table topics will be 1 minute, and I will ask a question. I'll call you up to the podium, ask you a question. You have 1 minute to respond. Dave is going to be our timer. Dave, would you please explain when you will show us the time? Is that?
In as much as the topics are 1 minute in length, I will show you the green card at 30 seconds, the yellow card at 40 seconds, the red card at 50 seconds, and at 60 seconds, we will politely applaud you to your seat. Lisa?
Thank you, Dave. Well, I know tonight we are going to be talking about the growth of membership, but with the sun shining, I really wanted to talk about sunshine. It makes me think of vacations, and school is coming out. Reminds me of when I'm a kid and take vacation, and just think of summer parties and beautiful scenery. So that's what my questions are about today. I have questions 1 through 10. Tom, if you would please come up and pick your number 1 through 10 for your question.
Okay, I just tell you the
Number 1 through 10, and I will read your question.
11? 5?
Number 5. What did you get into trouble for most when you were growing up? You have 1 minute.
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests at home. Probably what I got in trouble for the most was just plain laziness. My father enjoyed working. He worked hard all of his life. To him, work was like a video game is to kids nowadays. He couldn't comprehend that anyone didn't want to work. Perhaps because we had television by then, I thought sitting at home and watching Howdy Doody or Lone Ranger, whatever was on, was the very thing to do. He thought that going and cutting some wood down to burn for the winter was the very thing to do. I really never got in as much trouble as probably a lot of children would have for this laziness, but I just never had my father's work ethic. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Tom. Patricia, would you like to be next? Again, it's about fun in the sun. Pick a number through 1 through 10. 3. Number 3. If you could have any view from your back porch, what would it be?
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests at home. If I had any view I wanted from my back porch, what would it be? That's a very good question. And notice when I say that, I'm stretching for time. I know that my view from my back porch would involve water, some type of body of water, because hearing waves lapping up on the shore is a very calming sound to me. And growing up in Michigan, I grew up around the Great Lakes. I think that if I were to have any view in the world from my back door and my back porch, it would be probably the view in Rogers City, Michigan, overlooking Lake Huron. Madam Table Topics Master.
Well, that sounds fun and nice and relaxing. Thank you. Dave, are you able to pass over your
Sure.
responsibilities to Tom and
I can do that.
come up and answer a question?
I'll put him right there.
Again, it's about fun in the sun. Question 1 through 10.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Mm-hmm.
If you could travel in time, where would you go? If you could travel in time, where would you go?
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. What a fabulous question. I have to say that over the years I have been asked a lot of topic questions on a variety of topics that have just sometimes boggled me, sometimes surprised me, sometimes enthralled me. But I can truly say that a question of that caliber really needs a thoughtful, well put together answer that can only enlighten not only you, but the group and the TV audience at large. That is the kind of question that should be asked, and indeed has been asked, and I am sure will be asked again. Thank you for that fabulous question, Madam Topic Master.
Dave, what a wonderful lesson in how to answer a question when you're stumped. I will definitely learn and use that topic, or tactic, I guess is the right word. You want to try with or not?
Oh, sure.
Oh, good. We're all pressured into it, so come up with enthusiasm.
Okay.
All right. 1 through 10.
1 through 10. Has 7 been selected yet?
That's
Yes.
the one I just
7.
asked him.
Oh,
If you
okay.
have somewhere you want to travel, I can
Yeah,
ask.
let's go with 4.
Number 4. What would you try if you had no fear?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests at home. If I had no fear, I believe I would do something along the lines of hand gliding. I am terrified of heights, but at one point in time of my life, I did do some hand gliding, and it was just so peaceful and smooth and relaxing. It was very freeing, but at this stage of my life, I think I would have a very difficult time doing that, but it would be something that I would enjoy thoroughly. Thank you.
Since that is everyone on our panel, I would like to thank you all for joining me in Table Topics and hand our podium back to Tom. Thank you.
All right, let's give her a round of applause for that. Those are good questions. And just as a minor side note, this is a lecture. The podium is something you said.
yes.
Can kind of help some people to remember that a podium kind of sounds like podiatry, which is foot doctoring. Somebody shook their head. No, they didn't believe it. Anyway, you will be delighted and much relieved to know that I am passing control of the lectern to none other than our very talented Patricia, Knaebe, who is going to lead us in the all-important activity of membership building in our clubs. Help me welcome Patricia.
Thank you, Tom. We've talked earlier this evening about the importance of membership building, and we have some clubs in Fort Wayne that do a stellar job of building membership within their clubs. We have the luck to have representatives from those clubs here tonight, and I wanted to ask them some questions in regards to what makes their clubs so special and what makes their clubs strong in membership and what makes people want to join their clubs. And I'm going to start with Lisa. Lisa, describe your club culture to me. What is that like?
I describe our club as formally relaxed. That's the first thing that comes to mind. We do follow the format of the Toastmasters agenda. We meet at lunchtime, so we try to keep it within an hour. But our group is really fun. We have a lot of sense of humor. But we do keep to our communications book. We follow our competent leadership. And we have fun. Formally relaxed.
Formally relaxed. I like that phrase. That's a very good phrase. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate that. And by the way, Lisa is from the Wall Street Speakeasy Club. I should mention that as well. Tom, from the Anthony Wayne Toastmasters Club. What membership building practices work well for your club?
That is an interesting question, and we are ongoingly trying to decide it. We have had open houses where we've had upwards of 100 people, got absolutely no one as a result of it. We had a informal open house in which we served pizza, and we had 6 guests. At least one has already joined, and another probably will join. I think overall the answer would probably be the same for our club as any other club: personal, one-on-one contact. I think at the end of the day, that is what will do it best of all.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, absolutely, Dave. Dave is also with the Anthony Wayne Toastmasters Club.
I've been with the Anthony Wayne Toastmasters since 1985. At that time, I was the new kid on the block, and now some 29 years later, my wife and I are the oldest actual members of the club and the longest enduring. And I think the thing that makes it the most compelling for people to join is the fact that we pay attention to what Dr. Smedley put together as the format for a Toastmaster Club. Do the speeches, have great evaluations, and be sure to have a good time. But not only that, it's the attention to the detail. We do have a business meeting. We do follow Robert's rules during the business meeting. And we follow a structure that keeps us on time and makes everybody comfortable within that framework.
Thank you, Dave. That's very good insight. I appreciate that. Judi, you are from my home club as well, the Red Cross Club. What are some of your club's strengths?
Our club is very supportive, very nurturing. One of the members said it's impossible to fail at our meetings. Mm-hmm. I think our evaluations are very effective. When we're evaluating a speech, we start out with the positives, and then we sandwich it with some things that the member can work on, as well as then ending it with positives, so that when you leave, you just really feel empowered and you feel like you've done a good job. So we're very supportive, very encouraging. We want to see the other person succeed as well as ourselves.
Thank you. And because you were last for table topics and once again last again for this round of questions, I'm going to start first with you.
Okay.
All right. I would like to know what Toastmasters resources you use to assist with membership building.
We use the Moments of Truth Successful Club series to make sure that we do stay on task for the goals that we want to see happen with our group. And we find the Toastmaster website's very effective in tips as far as mentoring people in our group as well. I think that's been a strength in our group, is just mentoring the new people that come in.
Great. Thank you. Lisa, what are some of your club's strengths?
Our club strength, I believe, is our camaraderie. The one-on-one that Tom talked about is very helpful. Mike Padalita, our membership person, leader, is very kind. We all, instead of jumping on the one person that's a guest, we just all introduce ourselves, make it very comfortable and relaxed. And also our table topics, it's very humorous. And it's just our team base.
Very good. And the last time I was a guest there, I noticed that the other guests who were there were treated with warmth and with compassion and understanding and invited to come back. And I think that's very important to help grow your club. Yes, Dave, what would you like to answer? Would you like to talk about your club culture?
Yes, I really would. One of the things that I think makes Anthony Wayne so interesting and keeps people coming back is the variety of the programs that we have. We had a cooking night where everybody was supposed to bring in something that they prepared. Of course, these all seem to revolve around food. We've also recently had a pizza night, and that was quite successful too. But the point is, there's not just 3 speeches, topics, and evaluation and go home. There's something always going on, something new to look forward to. And to talk to you about officers and how they're trained, Anthony Wayne is really very diligent about getting officers trained, because that's really where it starts. If the people understand the Toastmaster formula, and interestingly enough, if you're an officer in a club outside of Toastmasters, the same training that you use for either secretary, treasurer, president, vice president can be applied in other organizations because it closely follows what is in Robert's Rules of Order.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you basically said what my adage is, and many people's adage: if you bring food, they will come. and we have found that at the Red Cross Club, that when we have an open house, if we provide food, the guests will tear down the door to get in. Tom, what do you think your club's strengths are? What do you like about Anthony Wayne Toastmasters?
Oh, it's wonder and grandeur. What can I tell you? No, our club has many things going for it. What you want in a club is going to depend on you as an individual. One of our great strengths is that we have a large club. We have many experienced members. We have a lot more business than a lot of clubs do, so you get some experience in spending money in parliamentary procedure. We also meet at Ivy Tech, and they've been very generous to us there, as has the library. We have audiovisual equipment. If you want to put on something, a PowerPoint, it's available. If you want to use the chalkboard, that's available. So, we're in really good shape to help you however you want to go. As I said, we have experienced Toastmasters that can mentor you and guide you. So.
Great, thank you. And I'm going to ask all of you this question, and I'm going to start with you, Dave. Talk a little bit about your club's history, because I think to know where a club is going to go, You need to know a little bit about the history of that club. So tell us a little bit about Anthony Wayne's
That's
history.
exactly right. If you don't know where you're at, it doesn't matter where you're going because you don't know where you're going. In 1940, there was one club in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and that was Club 159, Fort Wayne Toastmasters. And for 7 years, that was the only club in Fort Wayne. And then a man who was a member of that Fort Wayne Toastmasters decided that another club was needed that would meet on Thursday night. And on September 9th, Thursday evening, September 1947, Anthony Wayne Toastmasters was born, and it has met continuously for over 65 years, every single Thursday night, except for Monday, Thursday, and also any other Thursdays that a holiday falls on. We are a Thursday night club.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, I don't necessarily want to repeat that question to you, Tom, because you belong to Anthony Wayne, but can you give a little bit of history about another club you belong to? Because I know you belong to many clubs. You belong to Bob Lyman, you belong to Anthony Wayne, you belong to Advanced Speakers and Leaders. Would you like to give us the history of another club you belong to?
Well, I could give you a rather short history of the Advanced Speakers and Leaders. This is for people who belong to another club. It's not a first club for you, and have completed your CC manual. It's only been in existence for a couple of years. It's struggled by under my leadership, survived narrowly, and now is in the extremely capable hands of Patricia Knaebe, who is, without any question, going to take it back up to distinguished. This is from not having enough people to re-up as a club. For those of you who don't know, TI has increased the number you need for a viable club from 6 to 8. And we were in serious danger of not making that number. And under her leadership, we not only will make that number, but we will meet enough of the rest of the goals that we will be distinguished. So it has been a joy to watch her in action. The main thing is to stand out of the way so you don't get hurt. It's not been very, it's not an old club, but it does very well. The Bob Lyman Club is the other club that I belong to. I have not been a member of it all that long. It too has a long and distinguished lineage, if you will, and many experienced people in it. It does very well. I would mention one other thing, regardless of which club you belong to. A lot of things which seem important at first, major decisions, turn out in the end not to be. Whether you meet as a supper club and have food, whether you don't do that, the details of who runs it and so forth. Well, who runs it does make a difference, but a lot of the things that seem important in the end of the day really aren't as to whether you're a viable club or not. It's the dedicated membership. That's what's going to count.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. The dedicated membership is so important. If you have a core group of members who are dedicated to the growth and the strength of the club, you can't help but succeed. Judi, let's hear about the Red Cross Club's history.
Okay. What I know of the American Red Cross history, it began in 2006. For about 9 years, it had been discussed in the Red Cross as far as forming a group, and then finally they chartered their membership in 2006 with, I believe it was about 24 employees or volunteers. So it was a closed club at the time, and I believe for a few years it was a closed club. They did open their membership up to the public. It meets at noontime, which makes it very easy for people to attend, especially with the location. We have students from IPFW that will come over at this point, and we've got just a variety of people with different interests and backgrounds. It's a fun time.
It is a fun club, and as a charter member of that club, I remember the growing pains we went through. We started with gangbusters. We started with 24 or 25 members, and then 1 to 2 years into being a club, we had 4 to 5 people coming to meetings, and we weren't sure if we were going to have to close the doors. We made the decision to go from being a closed club to opening up the club, which is when you and your husband joined us. And by the way, I've got to tell you, Judi and Tug Pierson are such an asset to our club. They are such a joy to have in the club.
Thank you.
As are all of the members who came to us after we opened the doors, and that made such a difference to not only the dynamic of the club, but also the membership we had, the strength of membership. Lisa, let's hear about Wall Street Speakeasy. Give us a little bit of your history.
Well, Wall Street Speakeasy started with 2 Superior Essex employees. In 1999, they finally chartered and became a closed club just for the Essex employees. And Superior Essex is located on Wall Street. That's why it's called the Wall Street Speakeasy Club. In 2004, the economy hit and there was some downsizing, so they invited the neighboring GE company and their employees to join the club. That lasted for a couple of years. In 2006, they opened up as a public club, and we finally found a home at the First Presbyterian Church downtown, and we meet every other week on Friday at lunch at noon. And I would like to say that as of in the last 2 weeks, we just received our last newest member to become a distinguished club. We haven't been a distinguished club since 2005, so that's just amazing. Yeah, we're very excited.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When I first became division governor, I remember having a sit-down meeting with Adrienne Maurer, your president, and she expressed concern about the club and where was the club going and was the club going to stay open. And I know you have done some phenomenal things to build membership. What have you done recently? You did one thing recently that helped you to become a distinguished club and get you to that 5-member growth that you needed to even be eligible to be a distinguished club. Tell us a little bit about that.
A little bit of what we've done. We do have a little table that's a trophy. So when you win table topics, you take that to your desk. And that is a word of mouth. That's perfect for people to ask, what's this? You're able to talk about Toastmasters and invite them, show off the award. But also opening up Facebook and using all that social media really helped. But most recently, we had a contest, a membership contest, and we got points for inviting a guest, and then we got extra points if that guest became a member. And I did win the contest, but I do have to say that because of Mike Patalita getting us on Facebook and really just being gung-ho as Patricia is, that's really what has grown our membership. I might have won the contest, but it's really our club that has just really grown.
Well, and kudos to all of you for putting forth the effort, because if you hadn't put forth the effort to invite people in and motivated them to join, you wouldn't be where you are right now. So congratulations on that. What other little tips? We have just a few minutes left before we're winding up.
Yes, I wanted to say a couple of different things. The odds are you wouldn't remember me, but I was actually your area governor right during that time when you merged with GE. So
I've only been a member a little over a year, so
Okay.
no, I wouldn't remember, but I'm sure Adrienne does.
Well, I'm
She's
not sure if
been a
I was
member.
part of the problem or the solution. I was area governor under Bernice Wilkins when she was the division governor. The other thing we haven't talked too much about is the importance of the members getting outside of their clubs, getting outside of their shell. You follow this, not quite, but almost inevitably, a club which does not go to contests, does not go to training, does not go to conference, doesn't survive the long term. A downturn and they're out. A club that does these things, it's not absolutely written that they'll thrive, but nearly always they do. I think this extra dimension is so important that it really cannot be overemphasized.
Absolutely. Dave, what did you want to add?
Well, I think all these points are really great, and I agree with all of them. And there are actually, I should say, other clubs here in the Fort Wayne area that we haven't actually talked about. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the Bearfield Toastmasters
I know, you're
Club.
right. You're right.
And you know, the Bearfield Club has been around for quite a while. It's been around almost as long as I have been a Toastmaster. Actually, when I joined the Anthony Wayne Toastmasters, they were talking about forming a new club out by the airport. And I thought, oh, well, then Fort Wayne will have 2 clubs. I didn't realize the depth and scope of the organization at that time. But eventually, Bearfield was formed by members of Anthony Wayne, including Rich Cooper and Dr. Harold Raines. And when I began visiting them through a speechcraft, I thought, oh, these are nice people. I'm going to have to join this club too. So I joined, and there again, both my wife and I are also the oldest members of the Bearfield Toastmasters,
Yes.
which has been around since 1986. They meet on Tuesday night, tonight, at Penguin Point on Winchester Road, and they're meeting right now. And so if they're not watching, I'm sure, because they're busy having their meeting. But it's a very nice club, very small. So if you join, you get to give a lot of speeches really close together. That's a good.
That's a plus. That's
It's
a plus.
also the
isn't it?
best club on the south side of Fort Wayne.
Absolutely.
And now back to you.
Thank you. I am going to return to control to Mr. Tom Haller. Thank you all so much for your input and your insights. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you very much. We're delighted with your efforts. Contrary to what they probably believe, I really can't read how many minutes we have, but I'm going to return control, or I can't actually return control because he didn't have control. But Dave, would you see us out giving credit?
Yes, I would like very much
We have
to,
1
Tom.
minute.
1 minute. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, of course, there's the Elizabeth Lord. She's our technical director. And we couldn't have done it tonight, I understand, without James Mount, who is back with us again. And thank you, James, for being there. Joseph Lawrence has given us all this fabulous microphone equipment. And thank you, James, or Joseph, for that. We had Dawn Rizwan and Robert Boyd and Marty Stern all running cameras, all from Anthony Wayne Toastmasters. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank Allen County Public Library and Access Fort Wayne. And we'll be back here next month on June 3rd. So we'll see you then for another issue of Speakers and Leaders Hour. Till then, may all your meetings be fair, and God bless.